We got the man, Coach Brian Polian, here live in studio with the boys on Team OTB. Of course, special teams coordinator, recruiting coordinator, the man with the vision behind the overhaul, the burning down of the forest and the replanting of the trees that you witnessed this offseason. We got him here in studio to break it down. Coach, thank you so much for stopping by, man. I know, especially in today's day and age where any player can transfer in or out at literally any minute, y'all stay busy, so we do not take it lightly that you are making time for us, so thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
Okay, well, and let's talk about that. How's everything going? Family's moving, I'm sure. Being a coach, your family's, it comes with the territory, right? I'm sure they're relatively used to it at this time, but everybody adjusting to Baton Rouge, the Red Stick treating you well?
It's been great. It's been awesome. I'm not used to 95 and sweaty every day.
And y'all had a nice spring too, right? Like Coach Kelly had a couple quotes in there. He's like, "What are y'all talking about? It feels great out here." How's the adjustment been since summer's kind of come in full force here?
Yeah, we had a youth camp, not a high school camp, but like we had a camp for like 8 to 14 years old, and we had nearly 1,100 kids, and it was 96 degrees. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Like at the end of the day, we're like, all right, this is a different beast now. I mean, we're and for an Irish guy like me now, I might as well just walk around with sunscreen in the back pocket.
Hey, and you can see it right here. I'm not too far off. It looked like a ghost.
Hey, and you kind of forget about it too, because you've been a couple of different places where it is hot in coaching, but you forget about it. I know for me, like when I was out in California playing, like you wouldn't come home maybe for a year or whatever. You come home and you turn maybe a little soft when you go out there and you're like, man, it's 87 is like the highest it's going to get in San Diego. Then you come back to Baton Rouge, you're like, oh my God.
I came home from a camp. We bribed our children to make the move. Okay. Yep. They were like, okay. They were like, we want a pool. Okay. We'll get a pool. So I come home from a camp day and worn out. Right. Yeah. And showered and just got enough of the salt off of me, and you come home and all right, let's fall into the pool, and you fall into the pool, and the pool's like 89 degrees. It's like a hot tub, dude. Like, wait a minute now.
Well, look, man, that's good, and there is like all things in life, it's a dual nature, right? Like there's no greater feeling than when you're warming up for a game and you see the opponent and they're like, where the hell are we? And you can tell that they've already been defeated, like they've already wilted because of the heat down here in Baton Rouge. So it is something that will make us all stronger in the end. You have attempted to make this roster stronger after taking over. I don't know that somebody that has the passion for roster building that you've said that you do, I don't know that there's ever been a more fascinating situation at a more fascinating time to take over than when you're talking about a team that is 2 years removed from a national championship, but has just 39 scholarship players. And it comes at a time where player latitude and ability to move is unlike anything we've ever seen before. How would you describe your first few months on this job?
Not even the first few months. I mean, from the moment that I arrived, I think December 6th or 7th, I can't remember what day it was. Coach Kelly and I sat, and the team's preparing for a bowl. We would go out to a workout. We're trying to gain a sense of where the roster's at. And from the moment I arrived, we were in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. We were identifying what needed to be addressed immediately, and it never stopped. I mean, even when I went back to Indiana to be with my family for the Christmas holiday, my wife is saying, what the hell? I mean, I thought we were catching a break here.
Right.
I am at my kitchen table with Pro Football Focus open.
Yeah.
Hey, so-and-so from South Carolina just went into the portal, and I'm trying to make an evaluation off of an Apple, MacBook with Pro Football Focus open. And it was a dead sprint. What we found, though, was we have as it relates to transfers specifically, we had a niche in the sense that there were a lot of really good players that were born and raised in Louisiana that went other places. And the moment LSU contacted them or got involved, there was automatic interest because guys want to be home. and they wanted to be Tigers. And so that was an advantage that we found pretty quickly in the portal, and we were identifying those guys, like who from the home state. I think Noah Cain's a great example.
Yeah.
Had a good career at Penn State, but there was an automatic. We had a need, and there was an automatic draw to come back home, and we identified guys like that. And to be honest with you, moving forward, we've essentially built a database of every Power 5 football from the state of Louisiana.
Wow.
And if a guy ever goes into the portal from the home state, we will have already known a lot about the guy in the way, and this is the way things are shifting now. And Jacob knows this. In pro football, you have a college scouting department.
Yeah.
And their job is to evaluate all the draft picks. You have a pro scouting department. Their job is to know every player in professional football so that when somebody becomes a free agent, you already know that person.
Yep.
That's where college football is going now. We have a high school recruiting department, and we have a college department. And our college department needs to know, who are the guys from the home state, who are the players in the SEC, so that if somebody decides to put themselves into the portal, we know who they are already.
So I know, like, when you take over and you only have that 39 scholarship players in a bowl game, it can be a tall task, and it's a lot of work, like you mentioned. I mean, Christmas, you're sitting there still evaluating guys. But also, was there something nice in the fact that you could kind of evaluate them yourself and you weren't necessarily taking over someone else's players that they evaluated? Because every coach is going to evaluate a tape different. So although it was a lot of work, you got to kind of know what your mold is and what the team wanted to be, and you get a chance to maybe watch that tape and evaluate them off that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that helped, and that at that time our circle was small, so there was not 40 different opinions. There were.
I was going to ask you that.
There were a couple of people that were intimately involved in it every day, starting with Coach Kelly, myself. And it enabled us to keep the numbers right, stay on track, collectively what we think we made good decisions. And what's the old Garth Brooks song, Unanswered Prayers? Yeah. Like, we made some good decisions that you'll never know about.
Right.
Because, we decided not to move in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So I think the other part of it, too, was our ability to watch the LSU football team, and I say our team here because they are our team, but at that time we were in the midst of a transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To watch them work early in that bowl prep and understand we've got to get XYZ addressed immediately or we're going to have issues.
Yeah.
So the way we attacked the portal was from a needs based first, like where do we have to just simply add numbers?
Yeah, and like the DB room, right? I think definitely reflects that. And in fact, a lot of the contributors this fall will be from that DB room. I guess it is kind of fascinating talking it out. Like, if you're going to take over a team that's in that kind of dire numerical standpoint, maybe there was never a better time to do it. But when you've been in this game for a while now, Coach, and we can all appreciate the kind of rapidly changing landscape of whatever our jobs are in the new age and everything. But maybe coaching is even crazier than most. How are you dealing? Like, how do y'all manage from a time standpoint just what you have to now, where not only are you recruiting kids from high school, you are, like you said, you're scouting recruiting kids from other colleges, and you constantly have to be kind of monitoring your own team and making sure that everybody's all good therein. It
is a new world. What college football is now compared to what it was just 10 years ago is dramatically different. We have an advantage at a place like LSU and places like ours where we can afford to have dedicated staff to handling certain parts of the equation and supporting the coaches and Coach Kelly. But you can never be comfortable. You've always got to be moving forward. You've always got to be building relationships, whether they be in recruiting or continuing to build relationships within your own program, your own roster. I don't like the term re-recruiting, but there is a little bit of that goes on. I think the old school, you signed with us, recruiting's over, buckle your chin strap. Life is different now, son. Like, those days are over. They are, because we essentially, in the NFL, there's free agency, but you have guys locked up for the length of whatever contract you decided to give a guy. In college football, I mean, we have free agency with no contracts.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You know,
and no window.
Yeah.
Right. And no no
Well,
time. Where
hopefully that will get fixed.
Yeah, we'll see.
I understand. I'm not one of these old hardliners where, education's and the scholarship's enough, and once you sign, you're locked in. But there is a happy medium somewhere,
Right?
and we've got to find it. But until we do, our job as coaches is to adjust to the landscape that we have to work within, and we got to make it work.
So how much more like now do you talk about roster management compared to 5 years ago, compared to 10 years ago? Because like 10 years ago, I would assume it's mostly high school guys and you talk about that. But as far as like your own roster, you probably didn't have those conversations in staff meetings. And now you might have them daily, weekly, monthly.
We have them daily.
Yeah.
It's dramatically different in the sense that years ago you'd say, okay, we have 15 seniors are going to graduate. We'll have 3 guys declare for the draft, most likely.
Yeah.
Let's go find 18 high school kids. Maybe you would sprinkle in some junior college. Like, that's the transfer portal has really hurt junior college recruiting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That, dude.
It used to be when you say, hey, we have a gap here on our roster and we can't fill it with an 18-year-old. We need a 20-year-old that's played some football.
Yeah.
All right, let's call every friend we have in California. Let's call Mississippi, Kansas. Let's get on the phone with these JUCOs and find out who's got a guy that's ready to go. The portal has replaced that now. So there's, these conversations are occurring daily. It's much different. The new rule just passed. We have a 2-year window now where we're going to essentially experiment with, you have to be at 85 on August the 1st there's no scholarship limitations anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is huge. And I use my personal example for this, Coach. I was a 2-star guy, 795th in the country, 17th ranked fullback. They don't have 17 fullbacks in the country anymore. I don't think I get an offer if the old rules where they, the transfer portal guys count towards the hard 25, because a guy like me who you take a chance on, well, they're saving that scholarship for someone in the transfer portal, and they're not going to get a 2-star guy that they, maybe they see something in, they want to give him an opportunity, they think he can play, all those type things. I probably don't get an offer in the old model, but in this model, it allows you to do that. Get 85 scholarship guys, take a chance on a guy that maybe, a couple of people misevaluated.
There's no doubt. Somebody would have given you a chance. I mean, La Tech?
Oh, yeah.
La Tech definitely would have. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I had a good offer list, but it was that damn 2-star ranking.
There was a stat that the NCAA put out this year, and it was almost like a little bit of a warning. 500 less high school kids signed national letter of intent this year throughout.
500?
500. And I don't necessarily like that. I don't think that's a good stat. I do believe, and we're seeing what's happening in recruiting now, is high school coaches are telling their recruitable student athletes, commit. Don't take this into your senior year, because if you take it in your senior year, they might decide they're going to the portal instead of taking your commitment. So I think it's speeding up the process a little bit too. But yeah, it has changed the dynamic completely. The flip side of just get to 85, sign as many as you want, is, and again, unintended consequences. Yeah. If I've got a player that I don't think on my roster that's progressing the way I'd like him to, and I see either somebody in the transfer portal or in high school, and I've got no limitation, I think we're going to see more and more of, hey, Johnny, come in. I'd like to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to work out for you here.
Yeah.
You need to put yourself in the portal. And look, that's the harsh reality of our business. That stuff happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the right thing. Other times or we see places that, I'm sorry that your back hurts. That's a pretty debilitating injury. We're going to go ahead and
that's where I was going. That's where I was
medically
going.
disqualify.
Hey, buddy, you're still on scholarship. You can still go to the dining hall, but that back.
Buddies that ended
I
up
had
going
multiple.
that,
Yeah, I had multiple
down that
guys.
route. Coach, what about this? So, me and you are kindred spirits in that we both come from football families with famous football fathers, and that can kind of go one way or another a lot of ways in your life. How has that gone for you? Like, what does it mean to you?
It's far more good than negative.
Yeah.
Far more positive than negative. For early in my coaching career, I was Bill Polian's son. Like, it actually read it in the in the media guide. And every time I would go somewhere, that was the line. I'll tell you very quickly. I'll tell you a great story. Lou Holtz comes in to talk to the Notre Dame team before the Bush Push game. Charlie Weiss invites.
Oh, I remember.
So he's telling the team, he's essentially, hey, look at this coaching staff that you have. Anything's possible. And it's Michael Haywood. No. Michael Haywood played for me here at Notre Dame. And Jappy Oliver, he coached for me at South Carolina. So he's going right down the line. Rick Mentor was my defensive coordinator. Fellas, you got great coaches. And he gets to me, and I'm like 29 years old, and he's like, and Brian Polian, his dad's a hell of a guy.
I get it all the time, dude.
So,
I get it all the time.
But
man,
I have realized as I've gotten older, to be on the sidelines at Super Bowls, to grow up, literally grow up, come of age in the Buffalo Bills locker room with Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas. I talked to Mark Kelso, the great safety. Mark called me 2 days ago, just, hey, man, what's it like in Baton Rouge? How you doing? How's your family? Like, I grew up around those guys.
Hell yeah.
What an incredible life that was.
Yeah.
And one of two things happens. If your dad was a dentist, you're either going to become a dentist or you're going to run as far away as possible.
Right.
It's not like you say, all right, my dad was a dentist, I'm going to become a podiatrist.
Yeah.
Like, you're either in
Yeah.
or you're running as far away as possible. What people don't know is that my dad started his career, his career that ended up in Canton, Ohio. He started his career as a high school history teacher.
Wow.
And he coached baseball, basketball, and football.
Damn.
And then reffed basketball on the
Damn.
weekends just to make money.
It made Canton
So
from that.
I actually, while my older brother Chris is in personnel for the Washington Commanders, my younger brother Dennis is the senior associate AD for football at Baylor with Dave Aranda, but is an administrator.
Yeah.
My sister Lynn is a teacher. I have my dad's dream job.
Yeah.
My father just wanted to coach.
Yeah.
Right.
He ended up in personnel, but he and I are very kindred spirits in the sense that the teaching aspect of it and the relationships with the players, those are the things that I value the most. I got that from him. Grew up that way. It was really there's a Twitter account called Bills VHS where a Buffalo Bills fan just has all these games. I don't know how he's got them archived, and he shows clips. I promise you, once a month, there's a clip of me standing behind Marv, holding the wires, with a mullet, and a starter jacket.
Yes,
but
which are both back in style, by the way.
Dude.
Yeah,
you busted back out.
Yeah.
if I would have known Champion was making a comeback, I had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to go to break here. Coach Polian, I cannot thank you enough for coming in today. Like I said, I know y'all are very, very busy. Thank you. This was fantastic. Hope to do it again in the future. And, man, enjoy the rest of this very hot summer.
I appreciate it. It's great to be with you guys.
All right, there he is, Coach Brian Polian. Coming up next here and On the Bench, we will close out hour number one very quickly and then kick off hour two. Keep it locked, TV.